Let's go ahead and get started. We've done a couple of these on Saturday and Sunday. So this first one, obviously for the work week, and we have a lot more folks here and a lot of actually new areas really went, I wouldn't say maybe live is the right word, but really started using the system. So in some ways, today is a bit of a go live for our outpatient areas, especially our clinics. And we're doing our normal load of procedures in our OR and angio. All of that is basically we're stressing the system and getting used to operating like we're supposed to. So I'll spend just a couple minutes kind of I guess, saying what the point of this update is and what we'll do here over the rest of the week. We'll go through some of the priorities and hopefully have a few nice things to say about people. But the main thing is we want to make sure that we are over communicating that everyone knows how we're doing, right? Epic is a really big switchover because it's in so many of the routines that we do. So that's what makes it a big deal. But that very thing where we have so many people doing so many different things, it's a little hard to go, well, how we're doing. Are we doing great? Are we doing awful? Is this working out, smooth, or there's some things we really need to focus on? And most of you aren't in a position to look at the whole thing. You're focusing on your thing. So the idea is that every day we just give everyone, hey, this is how it's going. I always like to know what's happening, and I think most people do as well. So that's the point of this. This update generally probably be 10 to 15 minutes at the most, and it'll record it and watch it later. And if it's boring, that's a good thing because that means everything is going really well. And if it's exciting, well, we'll get through that too. Um, I also will give you an overall grade for the day. I like to do that, and maybe that's just a me thing, but it's always good to say, well, how did we did? So there's the grades for the day, and then when we get to the end of the project, I think we'll probably rate ourselves as well. But it's good to have standards, and I will start by saying the first day was A. And yesterday was, we debated, but we think we settled on a B plus. So that's not a bad start for Saturday and Sunday. I do want to acknowledge the weekend folks. Maybe I should even go back a little further. All the people who worked on the preloads, the cutover, the prep, especially in the last month, and then everyone chased all the training. We really appreciate all that effort. We only ended up with, I think, 5 or 6 people who needed to be trained that didn't. And out of a couple thousand people, that's a great accomplishment. And I know it didn't happen by itself. So thank you for all of that hustle. We had a lot of people come in on Friday, work Friday night, and others to make sure all the information was in. And I didn't want to let the time pass without acknowledging all that effort. For Kris here and our Kris T and Jen, the Health Connect team, Mark and his team, our managers and leaders, many of them came in over the weekend, spent the whole weekend here making sure things went well. So all of you, much appreciation for all that dedication. And I think that's a couple of reasons why we had such a good start. Our Epic friends are here. You can see a lot of folks with the red badges, and they've been very helpful. And I walked around, I think I saw a ton of vests out there. So your super users, both from Epic and then our own folks, are there. And I would almost say everywhere, which is exactly how we want it to be. So we should always start, I think, with just acknowledging good works and the good things that people have done. Last little shout out for our nurse grads, our newest members of our organization. They worked for several months, actually delayed getting their nursing career started by getting started with Epic, and are out there and helping us make this go live. So just thank you for all those folks. Part of what we'll do every day, our routine is I'll give you the top priorities of what we're working on. And you could call that the problem list, our top problems, but I like to call them priorities to fix. The way things work is that usually on noon on a day, all the experts come together and they give their reports on their particular areas, and it's really, really detailed. And then that gets collated into a priorities meeting where they go, we take all that stuff, look at how many tickets are out there and also how it impacts patient safety and other important things. And then we turn it into, these are the main things we got to fix. So every day I'll share that with you. You'll probably, for some of you, it'll be like, no surprise, I'm dealing with that now. But for others, it'll be just kind of an interesting thing to know. And so for yesterday's list, and actually we've run that for 2 days, has been that specimen labels aren't printing correctly. One of the reasons that's like our number one thing. It does slow down operations, but it has a patient safety impact. So that's a big priority for us. And kind of similar, not specimens, but point of care testing, they also have labels, and that has to happen quickly. And again, that's also patient. So everything patient centered is very much on the priority list. We're working on fixing that. We also are, dealing with, for a lot of providers, not all of them, but a lot of providers, Epic is new. We need physicians and providers to put in their orders in the system. We are supposed to only use verbal orders for emergencies. And when you're struggling with the system, it's tempting to just tell someone to do it for you. So we're trying to work with our physician team and support our docs and NPs and PAs to make sure we're using the system and get really comfortable with that. So that's something that's a priority for us. Some more technical things. We have a formulary that we work with in long-term care from Pharmerica, which is a company that provides long-term care medications. There was some problems with the formulary and basically getting it to reconcile with ours, and so we're working that out. You may be experiencing some of that if you work in long-term care, but that's on the priority list. And then for a lot of you on the caregiver side, one of the great things about the system is the ability to tap in and tap out and move quickly from workstation to workstation. That has been kind of spotty. We are working to make sure it's more seamless and it's consistent. We've found some hiccups in that process. Some stuff where equipment, wasn't either on or loaded properly, but all of that is getting, we have a whole team working on that Imprivata tap in, tap out. And this is mostly for outpatient, but we had a lot of appointments in imaging and outpatient where patients were to come in, and we try to get them all work in the system so they don't have to spend 15, 20 minutes when they first check in getting all their MyChart and other questions answered. We still have those work queues are still a little high, and we're working on bringing those down. It was supposed to be a top 10 priority list, and I'm done. That's only 6. So that's one of the reasons yesterday was a B+. There are some issues that we definitely need to address, but all in all, not too bad there. So how do we determine if we're doing well on an issue? Some of it is how long it takes to resolve. It's not that something comes up. It's more a question of, can we fix it, and do we do it promptly? One of the reasons we are so harping on putting in tickets is tickets, if you think about them, are a reflection of all the things that are not right. And when we collect them, how many of them we get tells us how much things are not right. And how quickly we resolve them tells us how quickly we're making the system better. So 2 things. We want to eventually see the tickets go down, but we also want to be resolving them more and more quickly as they become less serious, right? So the reason I'm harping on this is that you would have to follow this formula, okay? If you're stuck, push your F1 button. Often it'll give you a quick little advice on your screen and you can help yourself. If you're not sure what else, if that's not helping, find one of those people with the vests and they should be able to help you. Or I've also heard a lot of our traveler help that we have have worked on Epic, and they're also sometimes very knowledgeable about the system, but get some in-person assistance. But whatever you do, if it's not easily fixed, it's a real issue, put in a ticket. Because that ticket, if you can be as specific as possible about what's not working. Don't say, my screen won't load, okay? What you want to say is, I was in this section doing this and the screen would not convert, or the computer, and you give the computer number, doesn't, the microphone doesn't work. I'm making these things up, but the specificity really helps us fix your problem. So we're trying to really emphasize on that. So help us help you by putting in your tickets. Next time I do the report, we'll probably share some stats, the number of tickets that we're addressing, and then hopefully we can see a trend of them coming down. We also expect the most problems from this afternoon through about Thursday. This is when everyone's in. This is the time where most things are still very untested and fresh, and people are uncomfortable. So we'll see this big peak, and then hopefully we'll start, if we do a good job, we'll settle things out all through the next week. So that's what I'm hoping happens. Like we do on these forums, if you really feel like there's something that you want to share, you can put it in the chat box and so forth, or certainly escalate things, via the process that I talked with. If something's really impacting patient care and you're concerned about it, bring it to your manager. We definitely have a way to get things addressed that are not just through the ticket system, but we probably still ask you to put in a ticket anyway. All right, but right now, it's early on to see how the day's going. So far, a lot of prep happened last night, and to get the clinics ready, I'm hoping things are going good as our providers are seeing patients, and we'll probably know how we're doing here over the next few hours. And tomorrow, I'll have another session with you. So I'm going to end on a fun note, which is there's still free ice cream left over from the weekend. So probably 300 cones. Is it cones? Cups. Sorry, cups. But please, just one each, and don't go down there with a box to get a 20 for your friends. One per person. You got to go down there. But hey, if you get a break, get some ice cream, get some while you're getting lunch today. I know that was quick, but I know everyone's busy and working, so these will be brief updates, but I just want to make sure at least once a day you kind of get a sense of how we're all doing. So thank you for all your hard work, and I will leave you with this one thing. Be kind to each other, okay? It's all new. Be patient, show some aloha, and also make sure you look after your patients. Take care. Have a great day.